So welcome everyone to the Mylio Photos Coffee Break. My name is Angela Andrew, and I'm a product evangelist for Mylio. I'm joined today by my fellow product evangelist, Lori Rubin. She's going to be helping out in the chat, making sure I don't miss any of your questions. Our coffee breaks typically go through about, I don't know, 10 to 15-minute presentation, and then we open it up for live Q&A. So if you have questions, feel free to pop those into the chat, or at some point raise your hand if it's pertaining to what I'm speaking about at the moment. And you need me to repeat something, feel free to unmute and just let me know. I'm happy to pause and answer any questions about the topic of the moment. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to be talking about sharing with shareable links. And this is a relatively new feature in Mylio Photos, and it's got to be one of the easiest ways to get your pictures in front of your family and friends. It just makes sharing so simple. What it does is you go into Mylio, you select the pictures that you want to share, and then you say, create a shareable link, and that creates a non-indexed web page that your friends and family can go to see those pictures. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you an example of one that I've already created, and then we're going to walk through creating one from scratch. So up on the screen, you're probably seeing a bunch of pictures that I scanned from my grandmother's photo album. And this is a project I'm currently working on. I haven't done a whole lot of adding metadata and such yet, but as I was scanning them, I wanted to share them very quickly with my grandma, with my mom, and with my aunties. So what I did was I selected the images that the Epson fast photo printer or scanner rather had auto enhanced. So if you look at some of these images, I've got two of the same image. So this is how it normally scans, and then Epson does its own little enhancement. So I haven't done any of my own editing. This is just the scanner giving me an enhanced version. So what I did was I selected all of those enhanced versions, so the ones that look a little bit better, and I made a quick shareable link to send to my family. I can find those here if I go over to my albums view under quick shares, and here is that quick shared album that I made. So we can go ahead and pop in here. If I make any changes to these images, I can easily republish this. But let's go ahead and take a look at what this looks like. So over here in the info panel, these are your controls. You can stop sharing it, so that takes down the web page. You can send a quick email with that link. You can just click on this to go straight to that link in your web browser, or this little icon here copies the link, so you can copy it into a text message or into an email or a website or wherever you want to put it. So let me go ahead and just click on that really quick, and that's going to pull up my browser. Let me grab that from the other window. And this is what I was able to send to my family. And the reason this is so powerful is I was able to give this as a link in a text message to my 97-year-old grandmother. And she was able to pull this up and automatically see all of her pictures ranging from about 1945 to 1955. And she was just, absolutely in awe that I was able to do this and able to make it so easy for her. And while learning Mylio might be a bit of a learning curve for the rest of us, the best thing is when we can send those pictures to our friends and family, and that's super easy for them to see them. Once I have a chance to add some of the metadata and things like that, I will probably update this page, and you can make it so it has a downloadable archive so people can download all these pictures. They don't have to have Mylio. They don't have to be Mylio users. They can just download a folder of images that are part of this shareable link. And so this is really a great way to get your friends and family, especially when you're working on projects like this, to be able to share these really precious moments. So let me go ahead and walk you through how to create one of these shareable links. And it's almost as easy to create one as it is to share it. So what I want to do is I'm going to jump to my dynamic search. And I already have a search up here for San Diego. What I want to do is I want to create a quick link to some of my best San Diego photos. So what I did was I just did a search here for San Diego. And here in dynamic search, it's pulling up all of my images that have San Diego as a keyword, that have San Diego in the location information, that San Diego is maybe even a folder name or a file name. So all of those images are here. Now I want to whittle this down because obviously I have over 6,000 photos. One thing to note about shareable links and publishing shared albums is that you have a maximum of 1,000 photos that you can have in any of those linked albums and galleries. So we want to definitely whittle this down. And for the sake of today's presentation, I don't want to upload hundreds of images because that's going to take way too long. But let's go ahead and narrow this. I'm going to go into here into my quick filters and go into by rating, label, and flag. And over the years, when I've gone through and done some of my best images, I have marked those with 4 and 5 stars. So that gives me my San Diego pictures with 4 and 5 stars. Now, if I want to see these not as squares here in the search results, but I want to see the full picture in its full context, it's very easy. You can just right click on any image, go down here to show in all photos view. And that brings up that same list. And we might need to reapply those other 2 filters again. So we go here to our by rating label and smart tag. And again, we can add our 4 and 5 stars. So from here, we've taken this down to a much more manageable number of images. We can go ahead and scroll through this list and be like, okay, there's several here that I think would be great to share in my Best of San Diego web link. So let's go ahead and pick a few. I think this one is a good qualifier. I love this one of the San Diego County Fair. This one looking towards downtown. Inside the San Diego Mission, that's a beautiful view. Got some really nice ones here of the city of downtown, and some here looking out to the desert. Definitely have to get some of those piers in there, maybe a little bit of architecture downtown. And the way I'm selecting these here, in case you haven't done this before, I'm holding down the control or the command key. So if you're on Windows, hold down the control key, and then you can just click and select different images. On Mac, you'd hold down the command key. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to go ahead and scroll down a little bit more. Let's go ahead and grab this one here, the Scripps Pier. This one, we'll grab maybe this one here, or actually maybe that one instead. And again, if you select something that you don't want to have selected, again, keep that command or control key clicked, and you can click it and then click it again to deselect it. And the ones that are selected, you'll see have that blue border around them. Let's go ahead and scroll down here a little bit more, see what else we can find. Here's a great one of the Coronado Ferry Landing, another skyline, and then we have to get a few here of the beautiful Balboa Park. And I think that's plenty. So I've selected a handful of images, and I want to share these in a gallery online as my Best of San Diego. So from there, I'm going to go ahead up here to the right sidebar and go to our Share Selected Items. Here we're going to choose Get Shareable Link, and that's going to pop up where we can name our album. So I'm going to go ahead and call this Best of San Diego. There we go. And click Continue. And then you need to agree to the terms of service and the right to publish content. If you're new to this, I do encourage you to click through those and read, just because you are agreeing to those terms of service. But basically what you're agreeing to here is that these are your photos, that you have a right to publish them, and that you're not publishing anything naughty. So go ahead and check those boxes if you agree, and then click Continue. And now we can choose a few formatting options for how we want our gallery to look. So we have a dark, gray, white, and cream theme to choose from. With these particular images, I think I'm going to go ahead and go with dark. I think that'll look really nice. If these are images that you want to be able to create a downloadable link so somebody can download the entire collection, you can go ahead and toggle this switch on. If you'd like to add a watermark to your photos, I usually do for my fine art photos. For my family photos, I do not. If it was family photos, I would switch this to none. But for my fine art images, I'm going to go ahead and keep that as an image, and I have that already set up. And then you have the option here for Safe Share or to include metadata. In this instance, I'm going to turn Safe Share off. And for those of you who don't know what Safe Share is, basically that strips all of your metadata. So if you're sharing pictures of your kids that are still minors, that probably has their face tags in it, probably has geotagged information. You might have captured them with your cell phone. So there's a ton of information embedded in those photos. And when you share them online, especially if you share them in a public forum like social media, all of that information can travel with those photos. So what SafeShare does is when you turn that on, it strips all of that information. Now, when you're sharing things like things from a family history project, or maybe in this case, I'm sharing things from my fine art collection, you might want to turn SafeShare off and then be selective of what metadata you include. So for a family history project, if you're just sharing this with people who you're collaborating with, you probably would want to include places and people, ratings and keyword or caption and keywords and things like that, possibly even ratings. Those might be the most important ones for you to add there. In this case, for my fine art photos, I'm going to actually turn people and places off, but I do want to include my IPTC and copyright. Ratings are really my business for my own pictures. I will include caption and keywords. And some people like to know what camera I took a picture with, so I'm going to go ahead and include that as well. So you have full control over what metadata is included when you upload these to a shared album. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and click share. And that's going to go ahead and upload those images at optimized quality. So for those of you who've been using Mylio for a while, you know Mylio has your original quality images. It also creates optimized quality files, which are about 5% the size of the original, but are visually indistinguishable from those originals. So they look great when you put them online. And when your friends and family go to download them, if you choose to enable that, they still have a picture that they can print up to a 5:7. So it's still a very good quality image. Let's go ahead and click on this here. So if I just click on that link, it's going to open up my browser. And here is my gallery. So you can see they have my watermark. They have my title here. So I can go ahead and click on that. It's got my title at the bottom, my watermark. And if I want to see additional information, I can click on this info button here. So all of that information that I included is here in this info list, which is really cool. So people can see that information about the photo, as well as the title of the photo at the bottom, if there is a title. And then you can click through these like a slideshow. And this is really a beautiful way to view your photos. So I would encourage you guys to create these shared albums and these shareable links, because it's a really fun way to put together some of your best photos for many, many different reasons. Once you've done this, you might be wondering, okay, now that I created that, it's not in a separate album. Where did it go? How do I control that? And that's when you go over here to your albums view. I'm gonna go ahead and double click on this to go back to my top level. And once you do this, you'll notice a new top level album called Quick Shares. These are your shareable links. So I can go ahead and double click on that, and you can see all of the different ones that I've created shareable links for. And here we go. Let's see here. Where is that one that I just created? Best of San Diego, right there towards the top. So here's my Best of San Diego. I can go ahead and go in here. I can add more pictures. I can go through and let's say some of these didn't have titles. I can say, okay, Mission San Diego. And I can add in more information. And if I want to, I can then republish this album. So you'll notice since I have one picture selected, my options to manage my album disappeared. To get those back, you just want to go down here to the actions menu in the bottom right, choose select none. And then I have the options to control that album. So any changes that I've made, I can simply click republish shared album. That's going to reshare all these pictures. And if I've added things or taken them away, it'll make those changes online as well. Again, my link won't change just because I republished. So anybody who has that link will still be able to access that media. I can email it, or if I decide I no longer want to have this be online, I can click stop sharing, and that's going to pull it down from the internet. So it's very, very easy to manage, and it's so fun to be able to create these types of galleries to be able to share with people. And it's really a beautiful presentation. I think that our development team did an excellent job on this. The layout is beautiful, and it's so easy for friends and family to access. They don't have to have Mylio to do this. They don't have to be paid subscribers. There's not a lot of advertising in their face. Yes, there is a Mylio logo in the upper right, but it's not going to jump out and give them a bunch of junk that they don't want. So with that, I'd like to open up the floor to questions and see if anybody has questions about shareable albums or anything else in Mylio. Looks like here when John says, can you pick the order of the images? Yes. So when you do this, you're creating that shareable link. So this is kind of an ad hoc. It's going to be just, I believe, the order in which you selected them, and that's how it's going to share them. Once you have put together that shareable link and you go in here into albums, you can then go up here to the upper right to the ellipses and go to sort by. Make sure this is manual. And then you can drag and drop these into different orders. So let's say I want this guy to be at the top. So I can drag him up there to the top. And yeah, let's put that one towards the end. So let's say I want to do kind of a mix here of my black and whites and my colors. So I'm going to move you here. Maybe move that one there. So we've changed the order, but most notably we moved this one here, the Oregon Pavilion, up to the very top. So again, we can go ahead and click either into an empty space here if you have one, or go down here to the bottom right And again, select none. And then we can go here to republish shared album. You have to agree again and continue. And just confirm it's going to keep those same settings. You can change something if you need to and click share. And it's going to go ahead and republish that. So let's see here. Harold says, I missed how you got from the link to the albums. So let me go ahead and walk through that one more time once this publishes, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. Let's just go ahead and let this run. And I just want to make sure that that sort order was respected because we changed it. So it finished. We can go ahead and click on that again. And now my sort order has changed based on those changes that I made in the album. So that should be respected now. If you have older albums that you've moved around, you just need to click that republish, and it will go ahead and change that sort order in the online gallery. Now, as far as getting back to managing these shared links that you have, let's go back here to our all photos. This is where we selected all of those images. And now we want to manage that quick shared album that we made. That's where you go over here to the top level of your albums view. You just double click on the albums icon. And here under quick shares are going to be everything that you sent out as a shareable link. So that's where I created my Best of San Diego, and I can go in here and then modify that as needed. So good question. Sue says, I have a question about keywords and smart tags. Once I tag a photo with a keyword, what is the easy way to reuse that keyword without having to keep typing it? I wish I had a better answer for you, Sue, but right now the only answer is to keep typing it. You can copy and paste from one picture to another. So let's say I have this image here and I want to take all of these particular keywords that I have. I can just simply go Command or Control C to copy, and then I can move to another picture, click into that field, Command or Control V to paste those into that field. That's going to be probably the easiest way to do that. Mark, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I put an article up in the forum a while back about this issue because like you and I came from Lightroom and we were pretty spoiled in the keyword areas. And I wanted the same thing Lightroom had. What I'm referring to here is typing the same name with maybe a misspelled character, an uppercase versus a lowercase, etc. So you end up with a group of pictures that all have slightly different keywords, and then the search doesn't return the results you want. The solution for this is a program called Keyboard Maestro. It's a pretty cheap program, and it's a one-time license fee. And Dean, who's the architect at Mylio, put up a query in the forum with my article on how to get your current list of keywords out of Mylio and save them into a text file. Then when you want to use your keywords, and you can edit that list, obviously. I put mine into Excel and then copy it when I'm done editing it into a text file that Keyboard Maestro wants. Then when you want to use it, you highlight your keyword field and you use the hotkey that you designated. Mine is Option Command /, but you can designate pretty much anything you want. And you start typing. It's an incremental search. So if you have, for instance, St. Petersburg, as soon as you get the ST down, anything that starts with ST will come up, and you can scroll down or keep typing, click on it, and it'll put it into the keyword field. The article is pretty detailed that we have in the forum that Dina and I basically put together.
Oh, great.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
So another thing to mention is we do have improvements to the keywording coming. I don't want to say soon, because it's not going to be as soon as I would like, but it's something that is on our roadmap that we are working on. There are definite improvements coming to make that easier because a lot of people want to use keywords. Whereas AI is kind of the future and smart tags, and those are fun and cool. But a lot of us still use old-fashioned keywords, including me. So I'm very much looking forward to those changes. I know Mark's looking forward to those changes as well. So I think that'll alleviate some of those problems in the future. One other thing to look at here is your library stats. Now, this isn't a great way to manage them, but it is a good way to see what you have used. So you can go here to library stats and keywords, and this gives you a long list. And you can go ahead and click on one of these to see those pictures that have that particular keyword. So I just wanted to let you know that was there in case you had missed it. All right, let's see here. We've got another question here from Harold. With the download option, only optimized images, not originals, can be downloaded. That is correct. Possibly in the future that will change. That's something that we're exploring on the roadmap for future account-to-account sharing and some other things that we have in the works. But right now it is just the optimized images. All right, any other questions today?
Angela, can I make a comment about these quick shares versus shared albums?
Absolutely.
Okay, so besides using that little quick share option that Angela just showed you, if you're in your albums, you can click on any of your albums, and from there directly you can publish a shared album.
Yes, that is definitely worth noting. So this is something that's been in Mylio a little bit longer. So if you already have an album that you created, you just go to that album and you can say publish shared album. That's another great way to do this. But if you just have a few images that you want to select and quickly throw together, you don't have to create an actual album first. That's where the shareable link comes in handy. You have to actually be on pictures to do that, not albums. So grab a picture. There's get shareable link. So it's just two ways to get to the same thing. Doing it from an already created album lets you have a little bit more time to curate what's there, and to make those changes to like the sort order and things before you publish. Whereas with the quick shares, you'd want to make those changes possibly after you've published it, but that's completely up to you. All right. And it looks like Mark posted some instructions for the keyword management into the chat. Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Any other questions today? All right. Well, was there somebody else?
No, I was just going to say, we've got a post poll up on the screen. It's just one question, just for feedback for us, just to make sure that we're covering what you want to see, and any feature requests, anything that you might want to let us know that we can share with the team would be great.
Yes, appreciate all that feedback. All right. Well, if there's no other questions for today, oh, Michael, you got your hand raised. The floor is yours.
Yes, hi. I probably should know this because I've been using Mylio for so long. But is there a limit on? I'm sorry, I came in a little bit late into the meeting. So is there a limit on what what types of files can be shared, and is there a limit on how many of those files?
That's a good question. I did mention earlier that you have up to 1,000 images that can be shared in any given shareable link or shared album. As far as what types of files can go into there, any image files, but only image files. So videos and documents can't be put up on shareable links, just photos.
Okay, is there any glitch that you may know of that you would get a kickback that says file not supported, even though it's a TIFF or a JPEG?
Not that I know of. The ones that I just shared, many of those were TIFFs in that Best of San Diego album. And I think very few of them were JPEGs, but certainly the one I did for my family, that one is very well, no, those were a lot of TIFFs too, but there were some JPEGs in there. So let's take a look. So that's a TIFF with a JPEG display image. Let's see this one. Let's see, this is just a really long file name. So that's a TIFF. Yeah, most of my images, that's a TIFF with a display image. So it's kind of a mix, but I haven't seen that happen. If that's something that you're able to replicate and there's certain files that happens with, I would reach out to our support team, send them examples of those files so they can test it. And as long as it's something they can replicate, then they can investigate it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, last chance for questions. All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the presentation on shareable links and shared albums. It's a lot of fun. I've found it very fulfilling personally to use them. My family seems to really enjoy receiving them, so I hope you'll give them a try. And if you have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out to me or Lori in the community. And we look forward to seeing you next week on our Tuesday or Thursday Q&As, and again on Friday for coffee break. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.